Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for the week of April 21st. This week, you have this relax card, Libra, and this release card. I'm sure that you love when people tell you to relax, right? But it could be time to rest, relax, recover, and release with that release card for sure. You have the Ten of Pentacles, the Ten of Wands, and the Hangman. The Ten of Pentacles is really good. I mean, it's like everything you want and desire in your life. It forms a tree of life. And, I've been telling everyone that I think we are in an amazing time to get clear on what the Ten of Pentacles is for you. So again, with the Ten of Pentacles, we have to have the vision first. We have to understand like what the Ten of Pentacles would be for us. And then once we understand that, we can start working backwards to accomplish the Ten of Pentacles. And, the way I look at the Ten of Pentacles is it's, kind of like a card that represents your perfect life. Now, nothing in life is ever perfect, of course, but the Ten of Pentacles, I say, is like a worthy goal. I think that if everybody just understood like what their perfect life was, if you just come up with it, write it down on a piece of paper, and if everybody started working towards it, they would be a lot more successful. And, will you ever accomplish, your perfect life? Maybe, maybe not. But if you start working towards it, your life will improve. And that's the whole point of the Ten of Pentacles. And the other tricky thing with the Ten of Pentacles is like, I've asked people to do this exercise before, where it's like I have them write out their perfect life. And then I look at it and I say, is that really your perfect life, or is that what everybody else thinks that your perfect life should be? Because, people will write things down on their perfect life thing, and they'll say, I have this amazing career where I work 80 hours a week and I have to drive 4 hours both ways to get there. And I'm like, is that really part of your perfect life, or is that because society like tells you have to go to school and get a job and get a career and then retire when you're 65, and then you have a heart attack and you die before you even retire, right? Or is there actually something else that you want? And usually when I question people on it, they actually want more, right? So it's like nobody actually wants to do that. Sure, some people want like a legitimate career, but it's like really there's probably something deep down inside. We're talking about your perfect life here. If you could make $1 billion doing what you really love, what would that be? And the Ten of Pentacles is about getting clear on that and not allowing those things in, like where you say like, oh, I want this career where, I'm going to retire and die, right? So you have to get really clear on it with the Ten of Pentacles. You have the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands is carrying a heavy burden, but personally I like the Ten of Wands because this is his harvest that he is carrying, and he is almost reached his home in the background of the card. So like he has almost accomplished what he set out to accomplish. Really, it's not a bad card. And, I definitely feel a lot of you could be getting very close to like a finish line, or you could be getting very close to, putting your burdens down. Now, I will say if we get like the Devil or like the Seven of Swords even in this reading, then I would definitely look at the responsibilities you are carrying. It's like some of them are probably worth it, but if we do get the Devil, I'm not saying we will, I'm just saying if we do, then I would look at your responsibilities and make sure they're all yours, because probably not. Now, we don't have the Devil, but I kind of do feel that. Like overall, I feel like the Ten of Wands is good for you, Libra. It's like saying you're getting very close to your goal. But on the other hand, I feel there could be some things that you need to release that you're doing that are just responsibilities that don't belong to you. And I would get clear on that. You have the Hangman. I really like the Hangman right now. I used to say that the Hangman was my least favorite card in the tarot. Not that it's bad, but he's just stuck in Hangman mode. He's not doing anything. And so really right now he's kind of good because we've just had all these retrogrades since November. And, the Hangman kind of represents retrograde energy in some ways. Like, that's not, like, accurate tarot. I'm just saying that, he's stuck hanging from the tree of knowledge and wisdom, and he's done this to gain enlightenment. So he's sacrificed movement to gain enlightenment. That's what we do during retrogrades. We are put on pause so that we can gain answers or enlightenment. And so I just feel this is saying that you've been gaining a lot of answers in life, or you've been gaining new understandings, and now it's time to move forward, right? And that's it. So let's see here what is going on for you. With the Ten of Pentacles, you have the Tower. Everybody's had the Tower this week, so I wouldn't really worry about the Tower. Whenever the Tower comes up a lot, I say that there's probably, some sort of global Tower moment that's going on. I think that there will be a ton of global Tower moments between now and 2033. I've been talking about this since 2016, literally warning people about it. That we are kind of like in this change time, but really it's not like a bad thing. It's kind of like the baby being born. We're kind of going through the birth canal right now and we just haven't been born yet. So when you think about it, a baby gets stuck in the squeeze before it pops out, right? And it's like we're all kind of stuck in the squeeze at this moment where we're feeling that pressure before we pop out on the other side. And so number one, don't panic if there is crazy things going on in the world or whatever's happening. Number two, the Tower is about seeing reality for how it actually is. And, really it's about accepting reality with the Tower card. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Five of Pentacles. I would be, like I said, I would be careful of any responsibilities that you're taking that are kind of like slowing you down, especially if they're responsibilities that belong to other people. Five of Pentacles is about feeling left out in the cold, but, the Five of Pentacles says, do not call attention to your weaknesses, focus on your strengths. And that's what I would do with the Five of Pentacles. With the Hangman, you have the Knight of Swords. Really good. I feel like you're rushing forward after being, put on pause by the universe, probably since maybe even before November, you've been on pause. So, this feels like progress to me. Normally, I don't like the Knight of Swords because he can represent rushing. And I will say with the Tower, I definitely don't like the Knight of Swords because the Knight of Swords and the Tower together, they're not really together, but they kind of are. It can represent someone who screams like the sky is falling, right? It can be a person who comes to you and is like, oh, everybody's going to get fired at work, but it's like not true. So if if anyone is coming at you this week and they're making a big claim, I would make sure that it's true first before you freak out about it, right? Because usually it's not true. And it's not saying that this person is a liar. It's just saying they just don't have all the details, right? So, be careful of people who are screaming, the sky is falling, right? Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this snake card. It says desire and attraction. You have this tree card. It says stability and growth on it. So we see both in this row. You have a little bit of love. So there could be a person who desires to be with you here, Libra. I'm pretty sure in your last reading you had a water sign. And I said, I don't know how Libra does with water signs. Some of you said amazing. Some of you said absolutely not. So I don't know. Take it how it resonates. But you have the Page of Cups and the King of Cups. Could be a water sign. It could just be a watery person. It could be a fire sign who's intuitive. It could be another air sign who's just very intuitive or who has explored their emotions, right? We'll talk about that in a minute with the King of Cups here. But, definitely I get that watery vibe. And I'm pretty sure it came up in your last one. We also do see a lot of growth in this reading. And we're going to talk about that in a second. You have the Temperance card, the Page of Cups, and the Eight of Pentacles. Temperance is patience, of course, and Temperance is kind of a card of alchemy, turning one thing into another. And that's what I would focus on with the Temperance card because you have the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is a good card, but I always say, like, I love the Wheel of Fortune, but I also think the Wheel of Fortune gets too much credit in the tarot. Like, I feel like people read it as if it's, like, way better than it actually is. It's a good card, don't get me wrong, but, we have to be the ones to get that wheel to spin in the right direction. And the Temperance card kind of is, with the Wheel of Fortune can say that there are changes. There are things that you have to alchemize. You have to turn one thing into another to get that wheel to spin in your favor, right? And so the Temperance card with the Ten of Wands as well can say you have to look at things that are not working. And with the Wheel of Fortune as well. Sorry, I know this is confusing, but Ten of Wands, Temperance, Wheel of Fortune is what we're talking about here. And with those three cards, I would be looking at the things that aren't working and saying, can I transform this into something that does work? And I know that's a overly simple question, but that's exactly what I would do with this Temperance card. You have the Page of Cups. Now, if you have been patient for love, like let's say you've been waiting for a person, I feel like your patience is going to be rewarded here with like a really good person. So definitely could be love. Sagittarius, Virgo, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo. really stand out to me in this reading. You have the World and the Wheel of Fortune. The World and the Wheel of Fortune have the fixed signs on the outside. Wheel of Fortune can also represent Sag, just like Temperance. So, could be Sagittarius energy, could be any sign, whatever. But, there definitely could be an admirer that's coming in for you with the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups can be a very dreamy person as well. So that could be the other thing here, is like, maybe it's not a water sign, but maybe it's a person who has big dreams or who is dreamy. Whatever, take it how it resonates. I also think that there is something about your dream here. You have the Ten of Cups, Ten of Pentacles with the Tower with this Page of Cups. And then we go down to the World, which would be an accomplishment. If we go like this to the Hermit, this could represent you needing to, kind of like open up and share your dream in the world. But that doesn't mean that you're telling people about your dream. What it means is you're living your dream and people are seeing it, right? And so that could be what's going on here. The other thing I get with this Tower is that there could be, the Tower is kind of like a reality smackdown. Those people have been ignoring reality. Now they're coming down to reality. And so I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, there could be a little bit of stress around your dream. But I also don't want you to be stressed. I also want you to focus on your dream, because the Tower of the Ten of Pentacles can say that you are dreaming of this perfect life. And the Tower is you realizing that you don't have it, or, it could also be some other type of limitation. Like, you could be saying, I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't know enough, I'm not smart enough, the list goes on and on there. And you could be saying all these things about, like, in getting stressed out and saying, I can't have my dream because of these limitations. But really, what this reading is saying is change it with the Temperance card. If there are things you don't know, learn. If you feel too old, you're not. There are people who've done things at all ages of life. So, really, you are not, whatever you think the limitation is, it doesn't exist. All you have to do is get to work, right? The Eight of Pentacles is a card of straightforward, diligent work. He is working on one thing. So if you make something your focus and you choose to, create something by working on it diligently, you will. And the Eight of Pentacles is also material success on the horizon, Libra. So he kind of represents getting paid for work that you've done in the past. And there definitely could be some improvements in your finances with that card. With the Temperance card, you have the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is conviction. It is, I call this like pissed off for greatness, right? I think it's Les Brown who says pissed off for greatness. I'm not sure. It's someone famous says it, right? But that is the Seven of Wands, where it's a card of conviction. It says when you know that you can do something, when you know that you can make something happen, that's when it will happen. And so I feel like you need to, get pissed off for greatness with the Seven of Wands and like really make something happen. With the Page of Cups, you have the Four of Pentacles. I kind of feel like it's time to make a move, or, it's time to open up here if you want love. The Four of Pentacles can say that it's time to make yourself available, if you want it. Again, obviously, if you don't want it, then don't. But if you do, then I would open up with this Four of Pentacles energy. With the Eight of Pentacles, you have the Nine of Swords. Yeah, I feel like this is more worrying that you're not going to have something. Again, I think this happens to people a lot, where it's like they get to a place in their life and they're like, I'm never going to have what I want. But really, it's not true. And so I feel the Nine of Swords is kind of like saying, get out of your head. This person has had a nightmare and they're stuck in a nightmare. I always say the Nine of Swords is the worst card in the tarot because he isn't doing anything about his situation. He's just staying in the bed, right? So the Nine of Swords says if you do something about your situation, things will improve. And that's definitely what I would encourage you to do with this Nine of Swords energy. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have the birds and also the tower. The tower in the Lenormand is positive; it's not negative like the tower in the tarot. This could represent like an important message coming in for you. The birds, they are messengers in the Lenormand, so there could be like good news or a message coming in for you about something that you're like building or that you are building up. So I would keep, don't give up at this time. You have the Hermit, the Wheel of Fortune, and the World. The Hermit would be about showing the world what you're made of, especially because the Hermit is coming up on top of the world in the reading. I feel like this is about, showing the world what you're made of. Plain and simple, Libra. Again, the Seven of Wands is interesting, right? Because the Seven of Wands says, do not share your ideas with the world. But that's not what you're doing here, right? There's a big difference between telling people what you're going to do and actually doing it. And that's the difference here, is that, yes, should we keep our goals to ourselves? Yes, but obviously after we have accomplished our goal, we should be putting it out all over the place. And that is what the Hermit says. The Hermit, he's been through something very difficult, and he has his inner light inside this lantern. And I believe that his next step is to come down from the mountain. Again, this is not accurate tarot. But the thing about the Hermit is it's very tempting to stay in isolation. If you've been hurt or if you've been through something difficult, it's tempting to stay at the top of the mountain. But really, the Hermit's next step is to be a teacher through inspiration. He isn't teaching anyone anything. He is teaching through being an inspiration by, showing what he is capable of. And, that could be your next step, Libra, just in life in general. And that's what I would be doing. Show off your results. Let's put it that way. You have the Wheel of Fortune. Pretty much everyone has had the Wheel of Fortune as well, which is interesting. Now, like I said, the Wheel of Fortune isn't necessarily easy. We have to be the ones to get it to spin in the correct direction. So I would make sure that you're doing things to get the wheel to spin in your favor. And, that's basically what I would focus on with the Wheel of Fortune. And you can do this by, doubling down on the things that are working in your life. Taking care of the challenges just as quickly also works. We also have this snake on the side of the Wheel of Fortune, and snakes are guardians of portals, and snakes usually represent fears. So to get what we really want in life, we have to face some sort of fear. And, I do feel the Wheel of Fortune is kind of like encouraging you to face fears or to overcome challenges, and I would. You have the World. The World can represent an accomplishment or an achievement, so you could be accomplishing a lot more at this time. The World, I feel, is really asking Libra to take their place in the world, though. It's like you're standing on top of the world. I think you're doing this by, putting your skills on display, like I said, with the Hermit card. So that could be a possibility here. Also, by the way, the World with the Tower can just be a move. So some of you could be moving, or if you're thinking about moving, this would kind of be a yes. With the Hermit, you have the Eight of Wands, messages. Again, that Birds card can represent messages. The Eight of Wands can be quick communication coming in for you. So there could be like good news or communication coming in. The Eight of Wands is also about focusing in a direction. I would say that for the rest of your life, from 2025 forward, we need to really pick a lane. We have to pick a direction, and we need to put the blinders on, and that needs to be our focus. As I've said, we are in a time of chaos between now and 2033. There will be a lot of noise going on in the world, a lot of people screaming, a lot of things going on. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't care about the things that are going on in the world, but what we should do is what we can do. That's what we need to focus on with the Eight of Wands. It's not about ignoring problems. It's about doing what you can, right? And also, we need to pick a focus. There are too many things that could pull us in all these directions, but if the people that stay focused are going to accomplish a lot and create a great life. And so, that's basically what I would do there. With the, here you go. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Devil. I told you. I was getting those Devil vibes on that Ten of Wands. So I definitely would be making sure that you look at any responsibilities you have and say, like, do these really belong to me, or are these someone else's? The other thing is I would be careful. Like, this could be a person that returns to your life only when they have a problem. And it doesn't have to be a lover, right? It could just be a person. It could be a family member. It could be a boss. It could be whatever. But, I would be, with the Wheel of Fortune and that Ten of Wands and the Devil, I would be careful of that type of person that just only comes to you with their problems. Because you probably have enough problems to deal with. We all do right now, right? So, like I said, we need to say to those people, like, hey, you're an adult. You need to clean up your own mess. I can't deal with this right now. I got my own shit going on. So you deal with that. You deal with that over there, right? With the World, you have the Four of Swords. Yeah, resting, relaxing, recovering is going to be very important. I think, again, we all need to do this right now. We all need to be getting enough rest, getting enough sleep, taking care of ourselves. Really important. So, yeah, that's what I would do there. Next, in the good stuff, you have this card. It says adjustments are required. Temperance, Wheel of Fortune, we'll talk about it. And you have this meditate and contemplate card, Four of Swords, definitely a good time to meditate. The adjustments are required card is like, the funny thing is as much chaos as there could be in the world, I think personally, it's like the things that are going to knock us off track, like in our own life, are probably going to be little things. So we need to make sure that if we're working on a project and a little thing pops up, a little issue, that we don't get disappointed. We just work past it, right? And we just make an adjustment. And so an adjustment isn't a big deal, right? Adjustment, to me, that word adjustment, it's like a small little thing, a small little change that you make. So don't be afraid to make those small little adjustments. Temperance is about alchemy, turning one thing into another. It just says, hey, if something on your journey doesn't work, just try something else and see what happens, and you will be perfectly fine. You have the Queen of Wands, the King of Cups, and the Knight of Pentacles. Queen of Wands is about needing to be bold and assertive and really go for what you want. I'm pretty sure you get her with me all the time, Libra. She has this sunflower here that points towards the sun. So it definitely would be a good time for you to move towards your, desires. She moves towards the things that make her happy and joyful and that bring her joy. So I would be moving towards things that that bring more love, joy, peace, happiness in your life. She's also the card of learning as you go. Again, for pretty much the rest of all of our lives, we are in a time where we have to learn as we go. So we have to start things and then figure them out. And if you do that, you'll be more successful. You have the King of Cups. Again, I would say that you're attracting a very emotionally healthy person. I don't read reversals, for example, because I read energy. And, I look at tarot as a spectrum. Every card can fall anywhere on my spectrum that I have in my head. And the King of Cups and the good stuff would represent a person who's very emotionally stable. The King of Cups can be emotionally out of control if he showed up somewhere else and if he was surrounded by bad cards, right? So I would say that this is a person who has explored their emotions, who can express their emotions in a healthy way, and someone who is in control. Funny enough, the King of Cups is sitting in choppy waters, but he does not care. So that's the other thing as well. You could be attracting a person who isn't worried about all the chaos, and this could make you feel more grounded or feel more stable. You have the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles in the good stuff definitely represents progress. So you could be making a lot more progress, or you could finally be getting started on something that you've been thinking about starting. So I feel pretty good about the Knight of Pentacles as well. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Four of Cups. Didn't I say something about you're worried that you're not going to get something right? And that's like the Four of Cups. So the good news is that it's showing up in the good stuff. Whatever you're worried, I was saying something about you could be thinking you're too old or you're too young or you're not smart enough or whatever, and that is the Four of Cups. Is thinking I can't do this because of XYZ, and really coming up in the good stuff, it says no, you can. If you are willing to learn, if you're willing to learn as you go with the Queen of Wands, if you're willing to be bold and assertive, and the other thing about the Queen of Wands is she needs to not care what people think. So if you're willing to do that, then you will accomplish whatever you think you can. With the King of Cups, yes, you have the Page of Cups. It's basically just saying that, this is the same person. So I feel like you could be attracting a King of Cups type person. Definitely an admirer. Could literally be any sign coming in for you. So there you go. With the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Eight of Pentacles, which you also have twice showing up in this reading. The Eight of Pentacles is straightforward, diligent work. I love the Eight of Pentacles because it basically says you're getting results. And so a lot of you could be getting results for the work that you're doing, and I love that. You have this bell card. It says announcement on it. There's clearly news coming in for you here with that birds card and also the Eight of Wands there. If you've been waiting for news or, the other thing I'm getting here, Libra, is sometimes in life, I think it's almost like we wait for permission. It's not necessarily from a person, but it's we're waiting for something to get us moving forward. And I do feel there could be an inspiration. It could be news. It could be something that someone says to you that really gets you moving. It's almost like you're getting permission. Not that you need permission, because you don't. I'm giving you permission right now to get started. So there you go. You have this December card and this torch. It says spiritual development, enlightenment, awareness, and understanding. We're in a spiritual time. So sure, you could be developing spiritually, you could be developing your spiritual beliefs at this time, and it is a great time to do it, the whole entire year. You have this dog far away card. It says a distant friend is thinking of you. If you have a person who pops into your head randomly that you haven't talked to in a while, it might be a good time to reach out. It might be a good time to touch base. You have the Ten of Pentacles here, and the Ten of Pentacles is kind of people that you consider family. And so if there's a person like that you haven't talked to in a while, you never know. They might have some good information for you. They might have some good ideas for your life. You have this tent card. It says temporary situation. Some of you could be moving, like I said, with the Ten of Pentacles, the Tower, in the World. So if you're moving, then could be a move. And finally, you have this card. It says someone new is entering your life, obviously. So if you're looking for love, definitely a very good love reading, and it could be a new person. But this looks really good, Libra. I like it. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.